Evening, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to another show. So I got a few things to talk about, and yeah, we'll get right into this. I'm going to be covering a Time Rabbit video of Darth Dawkins talking to a guy named Mr. Moi, otherwise known as Jarl. I don't know if that was like a previous Clubhouse name or a Discord username. This voice sounds a little familiar. I don't know if I've ever talked to him or not, but they have a relatively brief conversation here, and it's really only notable in the sense that it's just more of that, looking at the specimen that is Darth Dawkins, under glass, and just watching him work. Anyway, hi to everybody in the live chat. I do have a couple announcements to make. The biggest one is a show announcement, or well, a channel announcement. So some of my content has been removed. I don't know how many people would actually notice this, but I have pulled some of my older videos down, not because they were flagged or anything like that. There's no real controversy or anything there. But something unusual happened. Sunday night, somebody reached out to me, JRobin, on Clubhouse, and I didn't realize that it was actually JRobin. And I got in touch with him Monday morning, and he wanted to have just a one-on-one conversation with me, and he was talking to me, where he told me that he is going to be leaving Clubhouse. He is done with this whole debate stuff. He offered an apology to me for previous behavior. He said that upon reflection, he doesn't like the way that he's approached apologetics or his faith. He doesn't like the way that he's presented it, and he was kind of looking for. He was reaching out to people to see if it was possible if they would be willing to remove, take down some of the content that they had, specifically devoted to him, as he put it, kind of like being at his worst. So I was kind of surprised to hear that. And so we talked about it a little bit, and I kind of considered it, and I wasn't exactly sure at first until I started realizing that there's no real upside to him asking me about this. And yeah, he gave me a few more details about what was going on. It sounds like he's, moving on with other stuff, and I kind of got the impression that he's trying to de-emphasize some of his online stuff to prioritize things going on in his real life. So, and I thought, I remember being 20 years old and having some out of control kind of ways of trying to communicate my opinionated stances on things. And if someone could help me while I was trying to figure that stuff out and find better ways to go about communicating that, I would have appreciated the help. So I took them down. And that includes, there's about 6 or 7 videos on there between Michael the Canadian Atheist and me discussing Michael's conversations on Clubhouse with JRobin. So I haven't deleted those videos. They're still available. If anybody's interested in them, if there's content from those that you've heard about or wondered about or anything like that, let me know. I can make them available to you if you want to see them. They're not deleted. They're just archived. So it did cross my mind, and some people have mentioned it to me that I could, JRobin could just be shining me on. This could be an elaborate prank. And that could be the case. If that's the case, then all I got to do is, unlock the vault and, those videos go back up. It makes no difference one way or the other to me. But I think it makes if JRobin is being sincere, and I'm inclined to think that he is, I think it makes a difference for him. So, in the spirit of hopefully hoping that he's being honest and that he's looking to kind of minimize this stuff and he's getting away from this kind of scene. Yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and remove that stuff and keep it off for a while and see what happens from there. I think he said he was reaching out to other YouTubers as well. I don't know how many he reached out to. I'm pretty sure Godless Girl knows about it. I was watching Tom Rabbit's premiere and she mentioned something about it. Somebody was wondering where JRobin was, and the reason I'm making the announcement now is that it's come up a couple of times in live chat. People have asked me, "Hey, are you going to cover JRobin stuff? You're going to maybe do some commentary on JRobin being a little bit calmer now. It seems over the last few months he's been really easygoing." And yeah, I think that's why. I think over the last few months he has really calmed down. But this is me covering him maybe for the last time. I don't think there's going to be any content coming from him, according to him. And I tried looking him up. Monday he was on again, off again on Clubhouse. He was having conversations one on one with different people. But when I went and searched yesterday, I can't find an account. So I think he's done with that at least. He did say he was going to keep in touch with me. I don't know how often, but he's got my email address. He knows how to contact me. I think I know how to find him on Discord. So yeah, that's pretty much where it's at. So, for whatever JRobin's got going on, whatever he's doing next, I think he's going to take it quieter. He's going to take it easy, and I wish him well. I hope, I wish him the best in whatever he's pursuing. So, I think that's going to be pretty much it for anything. I don't think JRobin will be popping up anytime soon. It wouldn't surprise me, I think, if he comes back in another year or so, maybe under a different name, and, if he's in different circles, maybe. But I think he's kind of disengaging from the crowd that has been kind of, he's been kind of, swimming with from now on. So who knows? Who knows what happens? But anyway, that's it for that. Like I said, that content is available upon request in limited dosages and for limited exposure. But other than that, I'm just going to keep in that for now. I'm just going to keep in that under wraps per his request, and we'll kind of see what happens with that. So. Other than that, So that's really the announcement for that. So JRobin has been covered. Somebody had said, "Hey, cover that one that Godless Girl had on there between him and I don't know if it was between him and Donald, or if it was between him. It was him like in a room with Darth Dawkins again." And I thought about covering it. And in fact, I was actually getting it ready. I was getting it ready. I was gonna pull that one up and take a look at it. And that's when I heard from him. So I just decided, you know what? All right. I won't cover that. No reason to rub that in. My guess is I don't know how many people are actually going to be willing to do what he's asking. Some people have to emphasize the monetization part of their channel more than I do, and I got a lot of views from some of his videos. So there's a pin put in those right now. But that's fine. The fact that my channel's monetized, I don't rely on any whatever monetary gains I get out of being monetized. It's not a thing. So that's it for that. So anyway, let's say hello to everybody on here. Gur, good to see you. Jail Warren, always good to see you. Spooky, the omnipresent Spooky. Errant, Victory, 8:30 to Awesome, good to see you. P Barnes, Frustrated Atheist, long time no see. Good to see you. Nice of you to be here. God equals square root of -1. Carletha, I'm finally on time. Yeah, actually, you were way early for this one. I should have been earlier. Maybe I should have started earlier, but I was I was watching TV because I'm addicted to TV. Peter, good to see you. Rat Snake, Calvin, good to see you. Bipolar Bear, Mr. Lumpkin, Clive Gordon, Shatterhouse, hello, hello. Daisy, hello, good to see you again. I saw you over in the live chat on Times Premiere. Carol the Atheist, good to see you. Let's see, Marie McIntyre, hello. Maya, always great to see you. Thanks for joining. Did he find a woman or something? I kind of suspect that's what's going on. I think he met somebody, and yeah, he's kind of. He did tell me that he's only 20. Which I thought was interesting. Something's going on. Like he shared with me that his parents, he's got family that knows that he does the debate thing online and stuff. But he said he's like, the way I get online is not the way I get with anybody. I'm even more laid back in real life than I am, at my calmest on here. And so, anytime I've gotten worked up on here, it's more like, just sort of getting worked up and kind of wrapped up in the drama of stuff going on here. And for the most part, stuff that we've seen of him, over the last few years, he's just, barely out of high school. So yeah, he's a young dude. And that was kind of keeping that in perspective. I mean, I think I think kind of contemporary neuropsychiatry and biology points that most of us aren't done maturing until we're at least 25. And so, yeah, I give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. But yeah, I kind of think that's what it is. So, found a partner maybe, hanging out, doing stuff in real life. Doesn't want this stuff online, doesn't want that to be part of his life anymore, wants to minimize that. So, yeah, I told him, hey, you know what, if I can help, it's a small thing for me to do. I'll take him down and, you know, for what it's worth, coming from an atheist, God bless. I didn't say that. Jason Blackmore, good to see you. John Rapp, Benghazi, hello, hello. Repo, good to see you. JRobin will probably pull an Enlighten. Yeah, the thing is though, with Enlighten, I always suspected that Enlighten didn't quit so much as he was drawn away, like he kind of pulled away from the keyboard. This sounded like, I mean, JRobin kind of sounded like he was done with it, like not like resigned or depressed or anything about it, like he was just over it. He was just like, no, I'm giving this up. I'm not interested anymore. So yeah, Cascade, good to see you. Lucky, Lucas, Space Lord, Garrison Fay, Clout. Okay, okay. All right. And Bipolar. Thank you very much for the super chat. Now, all I'm doing is saying hi and making announcements, but I appreciate that super chat. Thank you. All right. So, well, speaking of Enlighten, um, Jefferson, Enlighten and I are planning some more conversations. You and Enlighten are going to have conversations, Peter. I don't think the world's ready. I really don't think they are. Bruce, good to see you. Ox, good to see you. I think I've got everybody. Anybody that I've missed, I apologize. Warren is here. Good to see you. Bond, good to see you as always. Ready for some more quality Jefferson content. I appreciate you lying for me, Bond. Vesta and Pat. Last but not least, thank you, Pat, for being here. So, all right. So, yeah, I'm going to roll up into this one. This one, I'm going to have questions for the live chat on some of this one because they get more into some science stuff and it rolls up into it's this the probability of proteins forming and stuff like that, which is something that I just find a little bit uh, dizzying. But I'm not too proud to admit I don't know what the hell that shit's about. Excuse me. So I agree with this sentiment here. Benghazi, the Tangelo one was funny, very funny. It's only like 3 or 4 minutes long. If I have time, I might be covering that one too because it's kind of fitting. It's kind of in the same theme here of Darth kind of throwing himself around. He has developed this. The only thing that I should do to kind of contextualize this, the last few things that I've seen coming from different sources about anything that he's done online, it seems like he's been willing to go into more, willing or just he's just having to go into more rooms that he's not controlling. Fewer people are coming into his. So he's going out looking for trouble. And so when he ends up in these places, he ends up in places in a lot of these channels, I think, where he's with in another Christian's room, whether it's been run by Tangelo or James is tired. I don't know if he's been in a James is tired one or Praise or somebody like that. And some of the ones that I've seen from YouTube where he's been with Praise, it's him barking out orders and throwing his weight around and trying to get everybody to acknowledge that persons A, B, and C need to be removed upon Darth's decree because take Darth's word for it. That person is a liar and a stalker, and has is a convicted murderer. Whatever fantasies that Darth's got going on. So, yeah, it's getting bad for him. Getting real bad. It's almost as if there's consequences to drawing a line in the sand with all of your friends insisting that they not talk to anyone lest they be met with your. Don't talk to anybody that you have put on a no-no list, and if they do, they shall be shunned. And I think Darth is one of these conservatives where I thought he was a bit against this like cancel culture stuff, but he's not. He's shunning the shitload out of his brothers and sisters in Christ. Uh, let's see, Jefferson. We already had one. We're planning some follow-ups. I think I shot Jay the link. I'll ask him about it if that's. Uh, yeah, that's should be missed. Let's see here. All right, I don't think I've missed anything. Okay. Should we refer to Praise as Mr. Slave? Mr. Slave, really, in this image, as far as I'm concerned, represents everyone that I think Praise wants to target, like Christian and non-Christian alike, right? Or Darth, excuse me. Everyone that Darth needs to punish online and maybe even offline. We're all Mr. Slave, really, in Darth's eyes, right? And if you're not now, give it a few minutes. Give it the course of a conversation, and he's going to be looking to bend you over that table. Sorry for that, but you know what I mean. or he's going to be screaming at his friends to make sure that you're not allowed to talk anywhere near him because, and then he'll use that as a litmus test against those friends. Like, well, you're not getting rid of him. Didn't I tell you that they're a scumbag? By keeping him here, that makes you a scumbag by proxy. Like, lots of drama, even less critical thinking, less reasonability, less rationality coming from a guy who was already a little, cockeyed to begin with. So, all right, without further ranting from me, announcements over. Hello to everybody in here. I'm sure I missed a few people. If I did, apologies, but thank you for being here anyway. Here we go. So, Darth Dawkins versus Mr. Moi. Moi. Um, yeah, let's see here. Make sure the sound's turned up. Here we go.
Hey, Tom Rabbit! I hope you got this for your recording. Hey, YouTube out there. Tom Rabbit likes to record these. Hey, Tom Rabbit!
Yeah, again, if you admit that there are signs of intelligence that had to be involved in creating biocomplexity, then you're basically admitting a creator.
No, I do admit a creator for the origin of life on Earth, but I think it's aliens, and where did the aliens come from? It could be an infinite regress. So.
What aliens? What aliens?
Well, if I had to give an answer to that, I'm guessing I would posit aliens from a nearby star system. Possibly Alpha Centauri.
Where did you get that from?
This is interesting. Where did you get that idea from? Okay, so Daisy says he's in college. He's a full-time student. I'm assuming you're referring to JRobin. Yeah, that could be. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe he's transferred to college or he's residential college. I don't know. I don't know what his life situation is. I didn't ask. He didn't share that much with it. But yeah, no, if that's the case. A lot of thinking changes when you're in college. I know it did for me. And I went to a university late. So anyway, Mr. Moi here is starting off with he thinks that aliens. He acknowledges that a creator is that there was some kind of creator for life on Earth, but that it's aliens from a nearby star system. And Darth is automatically playing the skeptic here. What I think is fascinating. Where'd you get that idea from? Okay.
Have you been watching too much television?
No, it's I accept the evidence for intelligent design from biology, right?
Where did you get the
the question is,
can you focus on the question at hand? Is this a disease that is spreading throughout Clubhouse? Where did you get the idea that there are other life forms on other planets? Where did you get that from?
oh, it's a statistical certainty.
No, it is not a statistical certainty.
Yeah, there's like trillions upon trillions of stars, planets, the universe.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. If I gave you a trillion squared Earth-like planets over 13 billion years, 13.7, 13.4 billion years.
Nick asks an interesting question. By what standard does Dee Dee determine what is too much television? Yeah, I don't think you can back that up with the Bible. I don't think the Bible has anything to say about what's an optimal or an excessive amount of television viewing. But maybe he'll just say it's innate knowledge. God's beamed it in there. I'm pretty sure that Darth's idea of innate knowledge is his highly developed, overdeveloped sense of disgust. So he can't be wrong about anything. If it seems icky to Darth, it must be God tapping him on the shoulder and saying, "No, not that. That's naughty."
Do you think that would be enough time and trials for random mutations to produce a small number of coding sequences that would code for a minimalist set of proteins?
See, this argument to me now, and please be patient with any of my commentary on this, because any of you who are better with natural sciences, which is going to be most of you, I was homeschooled, y'all. got a bachelor's degree, but it was in the fluffy arts because my science was not so great. But it seems to me if you already start off with like this kind of hypothetical, hey, let's do this thing where you got like a trillion Earth type planets, all equally. Well, let's just use Darth's terms for it, all equally fine tuned for life. What are the odds that life is going to emerge uh, on any one of them or one of them, right? I I just think that this is a terrible way of doing this. Mostly because I'm not convinced that what they're talking about in terms of like the odds of the protein forming. I always get the impression that they think, okay, well, you have to get this random combination of things to all click into place, and then you have to get that to happen like a bunch, and it has to happen in sequence. And it's like it's not a situation, as opposed to it being a situation where there's a bunch of protein on Earth, right? All these different protein things happening, all these chemical reactions happening simultaneously. It just seems to me like the scale is much larger than this, and these guys are just thinking in this kind of like, no, it can only happen this one particular way, and this is exactly the way that it happened. And if it hadn't done it that way, then it couldn't have happened at all. Like it just seems like they're assuming an enormous amount of stuff into into their incredulity, right? And then they kind of hide behind this like, hey, we've got math to back us up on here. If we make the numbers um, uh, you, you know appropriately staggering, then you'll back off this claim, right? And at this point, this guy's just saying, "Yeah, I think aliens from another star system came and like did and created life here, right?" And Darth's like, "What are the odds that life started there versus that?" We're like, well, maybe those aliens were created by God and we're just their pets, right? Then you're right back to where Darth is. So, like, right? Like, no, they're actually the ones that were formed by God, and we just happen to have some of their stories, but none of those stories really apply to us. Joke's on us. So,
From a
Well,
purely from a purely statistical point of view, would that be enough time and trials?
I mean, maybe not.
No, no,
Uh,
no, sir. I
what
don't
are
give you
the
maybe or maybe
probabilities
not.
involved?
That's a dodge answer. I asked you a direct question. If I gave you a trillion square Earth-like planets, which is 10 to the 24th power, okay? That's 10 followed by 24 zeros. That is an unimaginable, inconceivable number of trial planets, Earth-like planets, mind you, not just planets, Earth-like planets.
we're not talking about just like the barren rocks, because there's lots of planets, right? But no, these are Earth-like planets. Didi likes to appeal to the rare Earth hypothesis to argue against alien life, except even that hypothesis all but guarantees there is alien life, but not as much as the Drake equation suggests. Okay, I'll have to take your word on that. No, I'm not sure what the Drake equation is. I mean, I think I've heard of it before, but this is stuff that I don't usually go for, mostly because every time I encounter this kind of stuff, this hasn't been an angle that I've researched in any of this kind of debate bro kind of stuff. Like when I got into conversations, about with these kinds of guys, it was claims that they were making about the Bible that I found eyebrow raising, right? And so when I would challenge them with that, like, wait, Paul didn't write all those epistles, things like that, then all of a sudden this would happen. They're like, oh, red alert! An atheist has read some Bible and read some commentary. Let's talk to him about rare earth hypothesis, or let's talk about the improbability of these of protein synthesis formation. Blah 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 blah. Like, oh, okay, all right. So you're not only a Bible scholar, but you're also a biologist or a biochemist. Cool. And a statistician. I mean, phew, who is he? The way Darth presents himself on here is there's this kind of implicit like, oh, I know this stuff and I'm a Renaissance man of just these kinds of garbage arguments. But thank you for that.
Would that number of trials be enough for random mutations to accumulate over 13.7 billion years in order for said mutations to produce coding sequences for a handful of functional rudimentary proteins?
Probably. Seems that way.
That's okay. You're speaking out of complete ignorance there. It probably couldn't. What are the odds of one rudimentary coding sequence for one rudimentary protein that has 100 amino acids in it? What's the probability of that occurring?
Well, I mean, it seems to happen quite often. You know, we got to.
I kind of like the tone of this guy's voice because I get the feeling like he's just not really invested in this. I mean, he did start off his entire thing with like, yeah, I'm pretty sure aliens from a neighboring star system are responsible for us being here. And Darth immediately chomped down on that bait and is now like, I'm going to get you, Captain Science. I'll teach you and your Stargate bullshit. Like this is Darth is so desperate for attention. He's willing to pick a fight with anybody. And then he wonders why he attracts so many trolls. Like, I'm pretty sure at this point, like, if anybody's trying to get, like, a rise out of him, it might be this guy. He's not doing it, like, really overtly. And maybe he's not. Maybe he is being honest and he does believe, he tends to think, I think there's extraterrestrial life out there, and they're probably responsible for our origins or in some way culpable. When Darth starts talking about math, I always laugh and think about Matt Dillahunty suggesting people read that book in numeracy. I think I've heard of that book. I should look that up again. I think I know which one you're talking about, Justin. Um, Brandon, good to see you. He says, haven't got around to this one yet, getting bored of Darth lately. It's been fun watching him burn every bridge in close proximity, though. I wonder how long before the Legion of Doom is just Darth. Yeah, exactly, Brandon. I mean, Darth is kind of like, he's running out of people he can cope with. He's kicked them all to the curb. So it's just weird. A bachelor in fluffy arts. I didn't know you were furry, Jefferson. Got pics. No pics. I was getting my degree before that stuff was. Digital pics were a thing, but it was before everybody was posting absolutely everything on social media. Really, only Facebook was around. Well, I lie. I predate that a little bit. Facebook was coming online. Yeah, everybody still had MySpace.
No. Okay, listen. If you lie, Otangelo's going to move you back to the audience. See that answer?
No, that's fine. I can provide citations for that.
The last person got kicked down to the audience for over talking. Now,
it's okay, Princess. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
Okay, Otangelo, get rid of him. He's trolling.
Let's be adults.
There it is, right? Darth has no mods in this particular room. Like this atheism versus theism thing. Either Otangelo started it, or he's like the last person with mods, mod abilities. And you can tell because he's got that little green thing going on there next to the left of his name. And Darth not having mods is now bossing around the boss of the room and telling him who should be allowed to stay. Classic Darth here. And Tangelo, I've been noticing lately, has been getting a little bit more and more tired with him. And there's more of the Otangelo thing in that other video that a few people have brought up. So
have a mature.
Otangelo, he's trolling.
Yeah, no, let me answer you. First of all,
right.
Even if I grant
Wait a minute,
you...
are you going to correct him for his bad behavior?
Yeah,
I'm here for a good time, right? I'm not here for drama, conflict.
Are you going to correct him for his bad behavior or not, Otangelo?
if he interrupts me while I am talking, I will
Okay,
let him.
but he interrupted me and you didn't.
Tangelo, do you want me to leave? If you want me to leave, I'll go with Tangelo. No problem, right? We can have a conversation some other time.
No, you're being rude and obnoxious, and then you're being like a snarky teenager, pretending that you're not being rude and disruptive.
Darth, Your Majesty, I apologize if I offended you. Can we move on from
the issue is not that you offended me. The issue is you aren't even recognizing your own bad faith conduct.
I am deeply sorry, Darth. Can we?
Okay. Yeah. So let's get back.
I thought that was kind of interesting. So like this guy's like, you know what? I'm deeply sorry. Okay, and then Darth's like, all right, let's mix it back up. Right. That's all he needs. He just wants somebody to bend the knee, acknowledge what you did to me. Okay, you're right. I probably shouldn't have said that. I was sorry. I was so mean.
To the question at hand.
I'm sure it'll happen again.
Do you know what the odds are of one rudimentary protein, the coding sequences within a genetic code to code for one protein that has 100 amino acids in its chain. Do you know what the odds are?
Probably like 30%.
What is that?
Like
Doesn't mean
one out of three
doesn't mean
trials.
no. That doesn't mean no. Okay, listen. It would be, and by the way, I'm not very good at math, but
So why take this approach? I don't get this. Like that to me is the weirdest way, the weirdest thing to go like, hey, I'm not great at math, but I'm gonna attempt to approach this statistical counterintuitive argument against the possibility of abiogenesis or something like that. Okay, why would you do that? Right? Like, I mean, this is one of those things where if I was like, I don't even know how he's convinced that this is a good way to go. If you're not great at math, I'm not convinced that he understands this. I am reasonably certain that Darth has cribbed this from whatever sources that this has been cribbed from. Like, yeah, it's the same well that guys like Mike Winger, and I don't know how much of this Mike Winger has used, but I think he has. I think he's a yak, isn't he? Anyway, but what's his name? Raging atheists used to call him. They call him Cream Puff or something like that. I can't remember what he called him. Matt Powell. Yeah, Matt Powell. That guy used to do this kind of make these same damn arguments. I'm pretty sure they're the same damn numbers. So they're coming from some like school of like I don't know what creationist pamphlets these guys are reading, but it sounds like it's the same dumb numbers. And it's like, okay, I'm reasonably certain that you looked into those things, memorized them as well as you could, or keep them up on your phone or something like that. So when you get into one of these conversations, you can just start ripping through the script and then demand how lay people just don't wow, I'm just so surprised you atheists are all pro-science. Don't you know this? Right? Like this entire approach to this just is bad for everything. It's bad for science. It's bad for discourse. It's bad for humanity. Like I mean, nobody's getting smarter or getting more becoming better informed from this kind of exchange. Like, I think these really are even like some of them at their worst. It's one thing if you're having like you get into a heated discussion about what you think about God and how things all exist and what morality means or anything like that. Because some of that, if it's not entirely philosophical, some of that you're just kind of spinning up different ideas about where people think that it comes from or what people think that it might mean. But this kind of stuff, right? Like this, there's good information out there about how this stuff actually works, and it's probably less sexy than Darth thinks. But he really thinks he's got a tiger by the tail here, and I don't think any of this stuff means what he thinks it means. Jack writes, the great thing about probability is you can add or subtract as many variables you want to make the solution as big or small as you want. Yeah, that's my very limited understanding of probability, and that's why when guys like this, like Darth, start talking about this, I check out. I just mentally check out. Like, nope, I don't have the bandwidth to handle this. Not only because I don't know how to confirm or deny every little piece that they're laying out there, but the fact that they're usually as ramped up as Darth is when they run this shit. It's like, okay, you're giving me a lot of attitude, and I'm pretty sure that is, very, very that is inversely proportionate to the amount of knowledge that you actually possess about this thing. Like, I don't really think you can think through this. I think you can just make these claims because you read answers in Genesis pamphlets all afternoon, and now you're gonna school somebody that made the comment that he thinks aliens made life on Earth. Okay, yeah.
it would be at a minimum, but it is vastly greater at 10 followed by 100 zeros.
Yeah, Perfect asks, why is it that Darth is talking about mutations happening over the course of 13.7 billion years? Does Darth think that life began at the Big Bang? Yeah, that's a good question. So I don't, and you know what? I don't think he even keeps that straight because I could have swore, I don't know if it's in this conversation, but he gets into something like that, maybe with Skylar. Some of the conversations he's had with Skylar Fiction recently, where he says something like at least 10,000 years or something like that. So he lets it slip really quick. And it almost sounds like, it raised the question in my head. I'm like, oh my God, is he saying that life couldn't have possibly formed and the proteins couldn't have formed given his 6 to 10,000 year age of the universe kind of thing. And for and obviously for a creationist, that the beginning of everything starts with life because that's what Genesis says. So yeah, it's an interesting question. Perfect. I don't know, and I'm willing to bet money that Darth doesn't either. I really think he's out in the weeds in this one. Space Lord Jefferson, organic molecules composed of more than a dozen atoms have been found in deep space. Moron. Are you saying I'm a moron or Darth's a moron? When it comes to this topic, Darth and I are both morons. So I accept it either way. I'm not looking to I'm not looking to like refute that or anything. Jefferson, stop being a circumspect dictum and get into the alien stuff. That's kind of what I was hoping with Mr. Mon. I was hoping Darth was going to ask him like, okay, these aliens came from another place. Kind of culture they got? Is slavery acceptable there? Darth doesn't ask any of this kind of stuff, right? He wants to get into like the math, the improbability of abiogenesis. Okay,
Okay? And it's vastly greater than that. Okay, 10 followed by 100 zeros. So if I gave you, when you said it's actually statistical certainty, you're just pulling that out of your rear end. Because if I gave you a trillion squared Earth-like planets, that would be 10 to the power of 24 zeros. If I doubled the number of zeros, okay, not double the number of trials, but double the number of zeros to 48, that would be 10 to the power. And the reason why I'm doubling the zeros is just to be extremely generous to allow for 13.7 billion years.
okay, there you go. There's the answer. Perfect. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, oh God, I hate it when these guys because it's not just Darth. I've heard more than just Darth talk about this, and they all seem to be coming at this stuff from the same kind of like it's all the same book or books. And I don't get it. Thank you, Delcos, for the super chat. We have a sample size of one, so the odds are one out of one. Yeah, yeah. I don't think anybody can tell him that because that's not. Yeah, or in Lucky's case, you can't assign probability to something you have no knowledge of. It's all fucking garbage. Also, probably a good point, right? Space Lord. No, I'm saying Darth is. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, if you were saying he was a moron, I figured you were, but I'm also pretty thick when it comes to this stuff. I'm not great at. I didn't get a lot of math even in college. I was pretty good at it. I should have done more, but I definitely didn't get a lot of hard sciences. So, and man, I hate working in a lab. Ugh. Ugh. Sorry, that's going to get me canceled by some of you science lovers out there. So, forgiveness, please. Here we go.
So if we doubled the number of zeros to 10 to the power of 48 zeros, you would still be at the level of 10 to the power of a minimum of 50 zeros just for one protein. Then you have to factor in all the other additional proteins that
Did you guys see that blank on the screen? It was like Clubhouse yawned at what Darth was saying.
that you would need for life to by pure mutation to arise. So from a purely statistical point of view, it's as close to zero
May I
as
ask a
anything
question?
could get. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Okay, so how is this ratio between non-functional proteins and functional proteins like calculated?
If in order for there to be functionality, it has to be arranged in a certain sequence, or else it's not functional.
I mean, but you seem to get like that.
The vast majority. Listen, we know from biological research that the vast possible arrangements of amino acid arrangements will not yield functional proteins.
I have no idea what he's talking about, and I kind of doubt that he does too. I'm thinking he's taking this on the say so of creationists. The appropriate question is, what probability function did they use to come up with that number? They won't have an answer because every value they use is arbitrarily assigned. Yep, and I've heard that asked too. And people who are better at this kind of stuff ask these guys when they're making this argument, like, hey, how did you come up with that? They will do the kind of thing where they're like, well, what do you mean? Or it's just obvious, isn't it? Or it came from so and so. Or I'm following this guy's. And then it just becomes this like, if they can mention a person where they supposedly got it from, it's almost inevitably somebody not great. So,
Oh,
It's
that
just
that
not a
might be true,
dispute.
man.
Okay, right. So the fact of the matter is, I just gave you a mathematical breakdown that I did not pull out of my ass, and you said it was a statistical certainty. I just gave you
it's so weird. He says pulled out of his ass, and Leighton unmutes just to laugh, just to issue an annoying fake laugh, and then
the math
ducks back down.
showing it's as close to zero as
Uh,
possible.
well, I mean, to be fair, it's like a baseless probability calculation,
So,
but
so
okay.
you're not saying anything of substance. What you just said, it was
Okay.
nothing.
Okay.
It was
Well, Darth,
meaningless. So
tell me
you said
how
it's a.
tell me how you
So
derive this
when you
probability
said it's a
calculation. I
statistical
mean,
certainty, you're just making that
yeah,
up.
yeah. I mean, like, yeah. If you're talking about Earth-like planets, for example, everywhere on Earth where you find liquid water, we find life. I mean,
You're ignoring what I'm
so
saying to you.
That's just
so I'm gonna.
nonsense. Yeah,
This
you
is a
are.
classic maneuver.
No,
This
no,
is a
that's
classic
not
maneuver.
nonsense. That is
Listen to
that
me,
is true. That is the reason why they look
Mr.
for planets that
Mua,
have liquid water
Mr.
in the
Mua.
universe, right?
What you're doing
I like how Darth pronounces this guy's name, Mr. Mua. Mr. Mua.
What you're doing is you're just bickering. You're ignoring what I'm saying to you, and then you're just going on as though what I said did not seriously mitigate against everything you just said. I just brought you a statistical rebuttal to what you said, and you're not offering a counter rebuttal.
I love this. I said a bunch of things there, and you're not saying anything that's really disputing it. So I win. You lose. I talked longer.
Do you have a counter rebuttal to what I said?
Well, I mean, I don't need a counter rebuttal to like a baseless
So then
assertion
what I
about a
said,
probability. Like you said, the
wasn't a baseless
probability of
assertion.
a
It
protein,
wasn't a
a functional
baseless
protein
assertion.
arising via mutations is extremely low, right?
This is what they're
You see
like.
what
I
he's
mean,
doing with
but
that,
how do you know
You see what's going on?
how do you know that in
He's
the
just
in the
being a
space of
motor.
This is
possible
what they're like.
protein?
You're not addressing what I'm saying. You are ignoring
No,
what
I am addressing what you're saying, right?
You
It's
are
that
no,
you know
no,
you're
you're
simping
not.
out because you
You're
know
not.
your assertion was
If you
baseless,
don't,
right?
if, no, if
I
you
mean,
say it's baseless, then you need to give me a breakdown rebuttal of why it's
okay.
baseless.
You need to. What you need to do is give me a reason. You need to give me all the ways that I've been wrong for the last 10 minutes. Mr. Lumpkin writes, chemistry behind the origin of life. Researchers uncovered the mechanism for peptide-forming reactions in water. Interesting. Sounds like an interesting read. Um, I kind of wonder, like, if that was, if you could get Darth's attention with that, and he paid attention long enough to read what you wrote there, what his reaction would be. Um, why is this guy being so abusive to Darth? It's anybody's guess, right, Bon?
Okay. For
Well,
example,
because
if I tell you that if I grant you
I
a
mean,
trillion squared Earth-like planets, and that is 10 to the 24th power, okay, of trials, is that
yeah.
baseless? If I grant you 10 to the power of 24 planets, that's 10 followed by 24 zeros. Is that a
Okay.
baseless number?
What do you mean it's not a baseless number? You're talking about a hypothetical.
Okay.
I mean, you're
Look,
talking about a hypothetical. I'll entertain the hypothetical,
listen,
right?
This guy is clearly trolling. He's clearly trolling, and we need to get rid of him.
But I mean, that's not a claim about the real world, right? That's a hypothetical
You see how he's
situation
clearly
you're
ignoring everything
bringing
I'm
into
saying
a
to him?
conversation.
And he's just
I mean,
sitting there moving his mouth and hot air is coming out. He's purposely trolling.
okay.
He's not responding to anything.
Say, Darth, when
I mean, I hear him. I hear him responding. He's just not playing ball. I think, like, really, like, Darth is willing to, like, this is when Darth really starts getting triggered. When you start reacting this way and you start treating what he's saying like the useless, insignificant crap that it is, right? Right. When yeah, okay, you know, why don't we talk about something more meaningful, like, the most efficient way to arrange a sock drawer, right? Because clearly statistics and probability is not Darth's bag. And then if you come at it, even if you're just kind of casually dismissing it, like Mr. Muwa is here, then I guess this is when Darth starts, like, screaming off with their head.
Said your assertion was baseless, right? You could have provided some kind of justification for it, right?
I'm gonna
I
block
mean,
your account from now on. Okay, your account is blocked.
okay, I'll block you right back, Darth. I'll block you right back, okay?
I
Okay.
don't care. No,
You're a
I love the, oh, yeah, here he goes.
troll. You're a dishonest interlocutor.
I'm not.
I mean,
Okay, all right. Angelo, you gonna put up with this?
And then Enlighten does that weird, like, I think that's like a wannabe supervillain laugh. That's kind of weird. It's interesting that he's like, I'm blocking you. I'm blocking you. You're blocked now, right? And Mr. Moa does the same thing. Like, yeah, you're blocked. I'm blocking. Yeah, who cares? Well, it sounded like everyone should care if they get blocked. Or, well, it only matters if Darth blocks you. You're denying me access to your wisdom and verbiage, as he likes to call it. No, right. But if somebody blocks him, oh, who cares? Who cares? I think you do, Darth, because why did you crawl into this room with no mods? Is it because no one, like, you host a room and no, like, I don't think that this genius is, no, I know he admitted at the beginning. I'll give him credit for this. He said he's not good at math. So maybe, but I think he's worse at math than even he realizes. If you block everyone that you know on social media and then open up a channel and wait for people to show up, to find you, to come talk to you, what are the odds that any of those people, one, will know that you're online, and two, be able to join you? So this is why he has to go crawling around now, because he's just started blocking all sorts of people. Now, I have heard from Tom Rabbit that, like, there are times he'll block somebody for the duration of an argument or something like that until they get kicked out, and that'll keep them from coming back into the same room, so he doesn't have to deal with them again, and then turn around, and then they'll be unblocked later on. Like, he's just, he's flailing around.
hey, you know what? Welcome to my troll list, Darth. How about that?
Okay. Are you gonna put?
Love you, Mister. Bye.
Angelo, are you gonna put up with this bad conduct?
But Darth, I want to ask him here a question. So let me
Before you do, did he respond in even within a modicum of good faith to what I was saying?
No.
Was there even a?
Enlighten, quick to immediately play the, to be Darth's lick Spittle here. Lucky, Wah has been around the block. He has dealt with DD for years under a different name. Yeah, the Jarl name. Yeah, and I think I've seen him pipe up. I've seen old videos with him having exchanges with Darth. I'm wondering though, did Darth even remember him? Darth's terrible at recognizing voices. But if this is the same guy as Jarl, I think he had quite a few conversations with Jarl back in his Discord days, and would get pretty worked up. But despite keeping the list, he doesn't seem to remember.
Modicum of a good faith response to anything I said, Angelo?
I think his claims are ridiculous.
No, that's not an answer to my question. I said, did he respond with even a modicum, a minimum of good faith in any of his responses to me? Or was it just simply rhetorical flourishes that were non-substantive, moving his mouth, doing an acting job like he was responding cogently to what I said, but there was nothing cogent that was a response to what I said?
Yeah, it seems so, but I want to make it sure.
Okay, so
I will grant Darth that I don't think Mr. Moi was directly responding to a lot of the points that Darth was making, but that's because I got the impression that he didn't care. But that's a far cry from saying that the things that he was saying weren't cogent. That that doesn't follow. So if Darth is trying to say that, like, oh, it's one thing for somebody to not address your points directly or not address them one on one, or okay, so maybe he's brushing them aside. But the comments that he did, it doesn't follow from that accusation that the comments somebody was making afterward all just like end up being irrational or unintelligible. Like I think Darth is internalizing his own stupid presuppositional apologetic a little too much. He's getting high on his own supply. Daisy says, it isn't that he's blocked everyone. There are better rooms with assholes like John Lee or James is tired. Less traffic to his room. Everyone knows it's a waste of time when Darth has mods. Yeah, that too. Good point, Daisy. Yeah, and it hasn't taken people long in Clubhouse to really figure out what this guy's doing, which is why the abuse has shifted, right? He's doing the same thing in Clubhouse, the same pattern of behavior that he was doing in Discord. It wasn't enough when he got his own room, right? And for anybody who's, well, I think most everybody here would know it, but if you are relatively new to it or don't know the Discord world, with Discord, you either start a server or you join a server, right? And a server can have multiple channels in it. Usually, what would happen with Darth is he would attract lulls, and he would do these kinds of conversations that get a lot of views, and either he would initiate getting his own channel on that server, or someone might foolishly invite him to have one, right? Then he'd have his own channel. He'd push for mods on that. You'd usually have total control over his channel within that server. And then he would do the kinds of same things he was doing with Clubhouse, right? He'd kick people, he'd mod people, he'd block people, and pretty soon it started to turn into just an echo chamber. No one would come, none of the regulars would be able to show up anymore, or only the people that were just sort of like-minded. And he wants to pick fights with new blood, especially younger people. And they either wouldn't know or they wouldn't have access to it anymore because he just sort of kick everybody out and bury himself in a corner. So once he gets to that point, then he has to go out and look. He has to, he's killed everything in his own area. He shat where he lived. He branches out to go see if he can spread that misery elsewhere. And he would go into other channels, and then he'd get quote unquote treated poorly. And then once that happened, he would go running to the server mods and demand even more power. Right? Like it wasn't just enough that he had his own channel on there where he could run everything his way, and he ruined it. He wanted server mods where he would have the capacity to server ban people and these kinds of things, from my understanding. And in some cases, people would play along. They'd give him either limited control or one channel, I think it was the Reformation one, they did. He was a server mod, and he fucking ruined it. He basically did to an entire Discord server, from my understanding, hearing from one way, he did to that entire Discord server what he's done to his own Clubhouse profile. See, with Clubhouse, he's just kind of isolating himself. He's trying to create a club, and then he isolates the club. People just go to other channels. They just go to other rooms. It's Clubhouse is a little, is a lot more casual than Discord. So, but he's running into the exact same problem. Now he's got to go out on his own, go into these places where he doesn't have mods. When he doesn't have mods, his stress levels go way the fuck up, right? He starts acting out a lot more, and he starts bossing people around because he wants the same level of control in these rooms where he thinks he's in friendly territory that he has in his own. And when he doesn't get it, that becomes the focus of his anger, and so he can't focus. So he's on the verge. For like Brandon at the beginning, and he said he was getting bored with Darth. This is Darth getting ready to flame out again. It wouldn't surprise me if he's on his way back to Discord because he's just anybody that recognizes him now in Clubhouse is bored with him or tired of his bullshit, and so he's going to have to go back to one of the Discord servers and see if somebody will let him back in, where there's enough newbies on there that haven't run across him yet. He gets a new pool of people to abuse.
So he was trolling then, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It seems so, but I want
think
to.
so.
Then why? When it's clear to you and to me that he's just trolling, why are you giving him another opportunity when he's already giving us the double middle fingers?
Listen, asking people to substantiate their claims is not trolling, right? I can say, Darth, you're trolling me because you asked me to substantiate my assertions, right?
Okay,
You're a
just
troll.
do me a favor. Are you going to discipline this guy or not?
See, there it is. You're not doing to this guy what I would be doing if this were my channel, therefore there's something wrong with you. This is just constant with him, right? And this is, and he's losing it now, because it's one thing to be a bully when it's your turf, It's your channel, it's your call, whatever. You want to be a dick, fine. You're gonna eventually lose people. And the way Darth works, I don't know if he like blocks people and forgets to unblock them and they just never come back. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the way it works because there's enough new people that he's probably like confronted and alienated that aren't familiar enough with Clubhouse stuff to know to do that. He might not even be familiar enough with Clubhouse controls to know how to like unblock people. I would like to think that he does know how to do that. But this is it. This is end of days, Darth. Scavenging in the wilds.
Otherwise, I'll just leave. I'm not going to waste my time. You want
Um,
to tolerate this kind of bad behavior?
Yeah, I
well,
want.
Tangelo,
He's not in
Mister,
Clubhouse.
you've been a
This is
bad boy.
great. He's trolling. He's doing stand-up comedy.
No, not exactly. Hogtie Champ, I just got here. Oh, Dee Dee is in a room moderated by Otangelo. Surprise, surprise. Dee Dee knows that Otangelo will never stand up to him, so there will never be a need to block Otangelo. Yeah, it almost seems like Hogtie might know a little something about what happens next. And Delcos, thank you again for the $2 super chat. What if I told you there was another Darth Dawkins? Who is it? Wait, is it you, Delcos? Take your money back. No, I'm just kidding. Give me that money. Who? Yeah. If you told me there was another Darth Dawkins, I'd be pleased actually, because that means I'd have, because I mean, JRobin's gone, right? Like I'm happy for JRobin. He's moved on, I think, to better things. But if there's another Darth, now if you're just talking about JT, we know already. So. Yes, that was the one I was going to cover, Justin. There's another recent vid like that where he's back in a room with JRobin, and he's all like, "JRobin, you should kick this guy. He's a troll." And JRobin is like, "No, I'm going to talk to him," and it becomes a thing. Yeah, that was the last one I was going to cover. And then JRobin approached me and asked me about taking down vids and stuff like that. He's quitting Clubhouse and all that, so I'm like, okay. So I didn't bother to cover it. I mean, mostly because, but I'm trying to kind of cover that at least as a theme. This has become, I mean, Darth was targeting JRobin with this. He's been targeting Otangelo with this. I mean, this is what got him into trouble with praise. He's still doing it.
Yeah, I want to double check. I want to ask you this. If you have water, how do you go from water to life?
how do you go from water to life? Well, I mean, that's a good question. But
Yes, you claimed if there is.
that wasn't quite my point.
Well, it sounds like somebody had a decent link about water's role in the formation of life, but yeah, I feel you there, Hogtie. This has been a crazy week. I almost didn't stream today, and I probably won't be able to stream until maybe Saturday morning. Week has been absolutely crazy. Justin says, no, JRobin's back. Is he back already? He knows how to unblock people because he's unblocked JRobin. Yeah, he did. He unblocked him, and then I think he did that. Then he did that other video. He was in that room again with him, and that's when he was. So that was the funnier thing about it was that he obviously had unblocked JRobin, and he was in a room with him, and then he was demanding that JRobin like do the same thing he's asking of Otangelo to unblock him. At least I think I've got that timeline right. I said, "Oh, I guess I'm wrong. I didn't realize he approached you." Yeah, no. J. Robin was a little bit more active. He'd been quiet for a while. Then he came back and he's been extra peaceful and everything. People were asking me about it. I didn't know other than that he just was taking a milder approach. He kind of ramped up a little bit more of his activity. He was talking to some of these people, and then there was the one where he got blocked by Darth. That was about a month ago, and then he was back, and there was this video where Darth wanted somebody kicked, and JRobin wasn't done talking to him, and JRobin wanted to talk to him, and JRobin stood up to him. Was like, "No, I'm not through talking with him." And Darth basically has given him the same routine. You're not going to punish this guy. Aren't you willing to take my word for it that this guy's awful? What the hell's wrong with you? That kind of crap. And then I don't know if JRobin kicked him or if he rage quit. But I think crap like that probably kind of focused into that. But no, JRobin and I talked Monday. JRobin, as far as I know, is done. So I don't think he's on Clubhouse anymore. At least not in any kind of visible way.
Um,
So what was your point then?
It's like, it's more, this point that is made by biologists, especially people who are like involved in, SETI, search for alien life, that kind of stuff. They point out that on Earth, right, where you find liquid water, you find life. It's like a good place to find life, at least on Earth.
Mr. Mulak, have you ever
I
heard
mean,
of Dr. Eugene Koonin?
who's Dr. Eugene Koonin?
Okay, Dr. Eugene Koonin, whose name Angelo is familiar with, is an expert in biology and molecular biology, and including the actual statistics. Okay, in his book, The Logic of Chance, he points out, although he's a staunch believer in evolution, that he states almost the opposite of what you're saying. That it's a statistical necessity that life will start. Okay, this is why he expands to the idea that life is certain only given a multiverse. But that's not what you said. The reason why he advances to the idea of a multiverse that was statistically guaranteed that life would arise in one particular universe is because in one particular universe alone, it wouldn't be statistically guaranteed. So Dr. Eugene Koonin, who is a staunch advocate, almost a mathematical genius.
Almost a mathematical for high praise indeed coming from Darth, who's admitted that he's not great at math. Eugene Koonin, according to here, from Russia, is a Russian-American biologist and senior investigator at the National Center for Biotechnology Information. He is a recognized expert in the field of evolutionary and computational biology. He's probably a math genius. Master of Science, PhD in molecular biology, both from the Department of Biology at Moscow State. PhD thesis titled Multi-Enzyme Organization of Encephalomyocarditis Virus Replication Complexes. Okay, and then his career, political positions. He denounced the Russian invasion of Ukraine and renounced his membership to the Russian Academy of Sciences out of protest. According to 832 Awesome here, Koonin's book is made for PhD students. This next comment, and it's also not what his book says. Yeah, I'm not surprised. This is the thing that fascinates me about this. So Darth drops this information, right? And I'm almost willing to bet that he didn't go and find Koonin's research, right? And he's not going to present this. This is what I find really disgusting about a lot of these guys, this technique. If you're going to talk about this kind of stuff, tell me where you heard this from. Like, did he watch a podcast where Koonin was interviewed? Did he see this in a TED Talk? Was he watching lectures on YouTube? Or did he get this from an apologist who's like cherry picking bits and pieces of this guy's stuff, right? And not necessarily like misrepresenting it, but just completely misunderstanding it and taking it enough out of context where it just, and then drawing all the wrong conclusions. Darth will do things like this that are in such a sloppy manner. You just want to ask him, like, are you, like, Darth, ask yourself this question. You are talking about another person's work, their scientific work, and you're trying to paraphrase some significant conclusions to some of their research. Do you think what you just said is something that they would agree with if they heard you saying it? Ask yourself that question before you start to speak it out loud. I really don't think that would give him any pause at all, because Darth is just fascinated with himself and in love with the sound of his own voice. But this is really bad. I have no doubt that 830 to Awesome's right about this, because it just seems very, very typical for Darth and for people kind of in this ilk to just grab onto some of this stuff. Like, you know where I heard this from? Mike Winger, or, whoever. Name a young Earth creationist inclined. I heard it from what's his face, Ham. You know, oh man, this lying for Jesus stuff, lying for Christianity stuff really needs to stop. These guys need to quit doing this. Hey, Mark Reed, good to see you.
Completely disagree with you. Can you explain to me why you said it's a statistical certainty when it contradicts
And that's interesting. So Otangelo made him a mod. He must have. He was the only mod up there. So
what he says.
Well, because there's so many planets and stars that even if like the odds for
No, you're
life were
contradicting
that
what he
low,
says.
we're low. I mean,
You said it's a statistical
we have so many
certainty.
trials.
He says the opposite.
Yeah, that it's
He's
not
a
a
staunch
statistical
advocate of
certainty.
evolution. No, he's in his
Okay,
book.
so
It's not a statistical certainty.
okay. 830 says the big thing is that Coonan thinks that viruses played a larger role in evolution than a lot of evil biologists give credence. Okay. Yeah, and let's see. He doesn't even get into the chances or multiverse. His book discusses how natural selection isn't the only, and he argues is a less important element of evolution. Now that's interesting. That is interesting. I wonder, like, if any of Kuhnen's stuff sounds like it's probably not exactly consensus biology, but it sounds kind of interesting. Yeah, I wonder what direction that stuff's going to go in.
And he's a
it's
staunch
like an
advocate of
impossibility,
evolution.
right? All right. So does he take the position that it's statistically extremely unlikely or impossible that there's life anywhere else in the universe, or is that his view? Or
His view is, and if you want to jump in at any time, Angelo, please do. His point is, it's so statistically remote that the only way to account for that is by an appeal to a multiverse. So you are contradicting him. So when you say that it's a statistical certainty, first of all, what you are saying is not true. It's not based upon an investigation of the facts. Number two, you're just making that up.
I'll
You
put it
can't
this
back
way.
it up. I can ask you a series of questions,
Okay.
which will show that you're making that up right now. Do you want to do that?
Here, I'll put it this way. When I said it's
I
like
asked
a
you a
statistical
question.
certainty.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah. I'll get to your question, but let me clarify one thing
Do you
real
want to
briefly.
answer? Do you want to answer?
Jesus Christ, Darth is nuts. Like, yeah, even when you tell him, like, yeah, let's get to doing that. Let's get to playing your game. But before we start, let me say this one thing. No. Do you want to do that? Like, he already said he would. Jesus Christ, take yes for an answer, you dumb old coot. Like, what the hell? Like this, I mean, this is getting bad for Darth. I mean, he's getting way too needy. Like, he just needs a hug.
When I said it's a statistical certainty, what I was saying is that I think it's a statistical certainty that there's life at least somewhere else in the universe, right? I mean, does this Eugene Kuhn's disagree with that assertion?
Where did you get the idea that life on another planet somewhere is a statistical certainty? Where'd you get that from?
I think he's already expressed this twice, and that his understanding of the science is that if there's water on that planet, there's a very, very good chance for life. And I think maybe based on what some of you all have said in here, are probably better at probability and statistics, but it sounds like the probability of life emerging is the chances for it are 1 out of 1 since life emerged. It happened. It's here.
It was probably revealed to me when I was abducted by aliens when I was like.
Okay, so there you go, Angelo. He's trolling the whole time. He's lying. Okay, and you've kept him on board. He's completely trolling. Okay.
No, it was a deeply spiritual.
That was pretty funny. I kind of wish he'd gotten a chance to finish whatever he was saying. Oh, it was a deeply spiritual something. P. Barnes, we're legit back to Dart's first question. Yep, we made it all the way around in a big floppy circle. And not to drop a huge text, Jefferson, but the conclusion of his paper said that the probability depends on the cosmological model, but if we had a multiverse, it's inevitable. Now that's interesting. So it sounds like Coonan is basically saying, well, if you're dealing with a multiverse, the formation of life is inevitable. So I guess Darth just needs to, disprove the possibility of a multiverse? I don't know.
Yeah, this is what we've got. We've got losers like this.
Losers
who
like
just
this.
troll.
Aw.
By the way, if any time you want me to go back to the audience, Angelo, just let me know.
After I've ruined the show. There were like 4 people on that stage, and then it's just down to 2. I mean, that's pretty. That's in less than 20 minutes. So it's like that's a pretty good sign of the disease that you've got on your hands there, right? Good lord. Okay, with that being said, I still got a little bit of time. Let's jump into this next video with Darth Dawkins blocks Otangelo, then rage quits. So pull
Robin!
that up here. Oh, look at that. It's right there and ready to go. Okay.
I hope you got this for your recording. Hey, YouTube out there. Tom Rabbit likes to record these. Hey, Tom Rabbit.
So, do you believe that the non-rational becomes the rational? Do you have a reason for that?
I don't know how, but I have a reason. Yes, I have arguments.
Okay, what is the justification?
Just out of curiosity, is that coming through for everybody? Let's see if that's. It looks like it's going through okay. Sometimes the display on StreamYard has a little bit of a lag. Okay, yep, it's caught up. All right, here we go. That was surprisingly seamless. Yeah, his claim was on Earth where there is water, there's likely life. Not if you find water somewhere other than Earth, there most likely will be life. DD is strawmanning him right to his face. No, I think what he was trying to say is that if you have water on other planets, it greatly increases the chances of life on other planets. I think that's kind of where Mr. Moore was going with that. Possibly. I just don't know how serious he was being with Darth about it. I mean, he did basically say, like, yeah, no, I think a creator is necessary, but it's aliens. I mean, I'm surprised he actually lasted as long as he did with that. When I first heard it, I was like, how is this video gonna go on for almost 17 minutes? Okay, so here we go. So Darth again in a room with this Millith guy. This is atheism versus theism. Millith, or Millie TH, yeah, Millith and Otangelo. They're the only 2 with mods in there. So, and Billy has been around the block for quite a while. He's an Australian guy, and Incardian, I don't. I think I've talked to Incardian a couple times, and I think he's been here. So here we go.
That the non-rational, what is a fundamental state. Okay, what is fundamental to everything is the non-rational of how it can become the rational in part or in whole. How does it become its opposite?
I don't know how.
I didn't ask you. I said to give me a reason for your belief.
So I have a transcendental argument that I'm rational, right? So first premise.
Listen, are we going to...
So he's already interrupting this guy's explanation.
Are we going to go through this
Let
again?
him finish a word.
Shut your mouth.
You first.
Okay.
Shut your mouth. Like, as soon as somebody is, I like this when somebody tells him, like, hey, are you going to let this guy finish? Shut your mouth. Like, yeah, you first, dickhead. We're trying to hear what this guy's, the answer to his question. You asked him something, he's trying to give an explanation, and you keep over talking him. Talking over him. Jesus, I'm doing it too. Daisy, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
You block, sir? Okay, hey, listen, I just checked your account. Hold on a second.
Darth,
Actually, let's see. There we go. I think Jefferson was just reading the chat with dead air. No, I didn't lapse out there. I was talking the entire time. Did I? I wonder if my mic went out. Something may have happened. I'm not seeing anything muted. It looks like, let me check settings again, make sure everything's go. Yeah. Everything's working. I don't know. I could have had a lapse in internet coverage too. That might have made for a lapse, but I was kind of suspicious about what was going on because I was able to switch this video over without having to not stop sharing the first one and just click it into the new one, and it worked. So, all right. Anyway, here we go.
give him 2 minutes to make his syllogism, please.
Thank you.
Hold on a second. Hold on, let me just move Incardia to the audience here because he.
Just wanted to keep it honest. You're ganging up on
you
him.
remove my mod, so Tangelo?
Before I get into that, thank you very much, Pinworm, for the super chat. Appreciate it. He's just automatically channeling. Oh, I'm going to move this guy out of here. That's going away.
Well, Tangelo, do you remove my mods?
What?
I thought you modded me.
No, I asked Milit just to give him 2 minutes to make his sandwiches.
Okay,
I didn't hear it.
You're going to have to remove Billy. Billy is a stalker. You're going to have to remove him.
That's not true, Darth. You're just scared of me.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I wouldn't. I've seen Billy have conversations with all of these guys, and well, yeah, I guess based on everything we know about Darth and his standards, Billy would rate as a stalker because he will not concede points and he will, he won't let things go and he will like force Darth to define his terms or elaborate or clarify things, and Darth hates that shit. He just wants to be able to like sermonize and then have you walk away and there, are you a Christian yet? Get a job, hippie. Whatever it is. Jack Burton, I think, summed it up nicely. Stalker equals smarter than Dee Dee. Yeah. So many stalkers. Hey, Randolph, good to see you.
Run away if you want to, Darth.
He's lying again. Tangelo, please remove
Going into public rooms is not stalking, Darth.
I can talk to Tangelo just fine. Why can't you talk to us?
Billy to the audience while I'm here.
Darth, give me a minute. Billy, I
No,
don't know
that's
you.
not happening.
Okay, Billy, listen.
Billy has a history on Discord and on Clubhouse engaging in terms of service violation and stalking. Please remove him to the audience.
Am I allowed?
Okay, if you're still on those social media channels, you probably haven't engaged, especially with the same username, probably the same email, right? Like, Darth checks these people's profiles, right? And he's accusing Billy of violating terms of service agreements on Clubhouse and on Discord. And yet, to the best of my knowledge, well, Billy is certainly on Clubhouse, and I think he's still available and still active on certain Discord servers as well. So it doesn't seem like, according to the social media companies that he's on, those particular networks, that he's violated the terms of service. So this is a hell of a claim, right? Like, if Darth ran Twitter, Elon would have already bought it to wrest it away from his his micromanaging control freak insanity, right? At least that's what he claims, right? That's what needs to be done. Darth just be canceling everybody.
To respond to that accusation?
Tangelo?
Am I allowed to respond to the accusation?
Billy has a long history.
We're asking Tangelo.
Tangelo, last time, okay? Tangelo. Billy has a long history of engaging in terms of service violations on Discord and on Clubhouse, and including stalking. Are you going to remove him to the audience?
Why do you let him tell you what to do in your room? Like, we can have a good conversation.
Okay.
I don't understand what the issue is.
Okay,
We can
I'm
do it with
asking
everybody else, even JRobin.
Tangelo, both of these individuals I have blocked because they are both trolls.
And we've
Come
been
up on
polite to
stage
you
and
and you've
troll
been
me.
rude to us, so
Are
maybe
you
don't have a
going
troll list
to-
as an
okay,
adult
they're doing
man.
precisely what I'm pointing out, Tangelo.
I like that Mr. Mua, as Darth calls him, Mua, has showed up.
You're going to remove them from the
Tangelo, do you have a troll list?
Darth, give me a minute here,
Are you going to
please.
tolerate this or not? Or are you just going to be a pussy?
Well,
Right? I mean, shots fired. Are you going to tolerate this or not? Or are you just going to be a pussy? Well, what's Tangelo going to do now, right? Ooh, Daddy Ding Dong called him a pussy. I mean, what's next? Is he going to accuse him of being a chicken and make the squawky noises and do the flappy things with his arms and elbows, Them's fighting words, bro. No, I'll get right on it. I'll do whatever you say now, just as long as you don't think of me as being a chicken or a pussy or a human being, whatever fucking Darth. Like, Jesus. Like, he bullies like somebody out of like an old 1950s movie or something, you know. I'm like, oh, what are you gonna do? You gonna track me down and give me a wedgie? What's the deal here? Like, Jesus. Yeah, I don't think he's 3. I think he's like an Arrested Development 17-year-old. Like, you know.
Well,
Hey, Doc, why did you just throw a false dichotomy, Tom? Why didn't you explain that one?
You're now making it very clear that you don't want to take a stand against trolls. You've now made it clear to me that you're more interested in people pleasing than taking a stand against people who troll.
Wow, you gave him a whole like 5 seconds to comply, right? Like Otangelo doesn't even have the chance to say in this particular thing, like any reasonable person, like, look, we're on social media and some of these guys in here, I don't know them from Adam, right? And the only thing I do know right now is that you're in a discussion with like all of them at the same time. And anytime they ask you to like give someone else a chance to talk, you get triggered and then tell me that these people have violated terms of services for not only Clubhouse, but for other forms of social media, and that because of that, because of what you just said, I shouldn't allow them on a stage and I should get rid of them immediately, per your say-so and nothing else. Nothing but. So if I ask them to, like, what if Otangelo just like, well, hang on, I want to know, what do you say, Billy, to the accusation that you violated the terms of service on Clubhouse and Discord? You know, what's your defense for that? Would Darth just accuse him of being this is really telling, right? Darth doesn't want anybody to actually do any due diligence on here. Just, you need to accept what I say about the situation and do what I say accordingly, right? Which is interesting because if somebody just does that kind of thing, they're a pussy. Like by most anybody's standards, they're going to look like a complete spineless, passive wimp, right? In comparison. And it is really kind of tiring for Darth to compare somebody to a pussy. Pussies are resilient, and a child, they give birth. So it should be more of a compliment. If anything, if you're going to say somebody's, you're a flaccid penis, right? A flaccid penis is just usually in the way. Or a scrotum that's descended too low. Now it's more of a liability than ever before. And it doesn't have any, it has to be supported and cradled. It can't do anything on its own, unless you expose it to the cold. Anyway, before I torture any more of those disgusting metaphors, this kind of crap right here, the fact that this did, I mean, because like Otangelo has had enough disagreements with Darth. I've always been kind of surprised that he's been willing to talk to him for as long as he has. But I think this really kind of takes the taco here.
I think we should just comply.
Listen, I paid Angelo $1,000, right, to tolerate trolls, right? So
Darth, do you want to go on modern day debate? Darth, let's go on modern day debate. Let's have a moderated debate. Are you going to run away?
Billy, stop. I want Darth, stop, please. I want to have a word here. Okay. So this is my room. Darth, this is my room.
See, now things are getting really heated because once you're that person, once you're doing what Otangelo's doing to Darth, this is my room here. I want to have a word with Billy. That's not going to fly. And Darth at this point, this is the funniest when Darth is getting so. I don't even know if he's triggered. A lot of this seems performative. I think he's even like waving his arms in the air, even though he's not on camera. Just to really stoke himself up. But he's just talking at everything and everyone. Like he might as well be howling at the moon.
I know it's your room. I'm asking you a question. Are you going to move them to the audience or not? That's all I want to know.
You're so scared. You're running away.
You still didn't. Okay.
Sorry, I was going to say, Leda.
Thanks, Pat. Have a great night. And take care. I'll catch you later.
Angelo, speak though for a sec there.
Yeah. First of all, Darth, you don't dictate in my. Okay. So first of all, Darth doesn't dictate in my room who is being removed from the stage and who is not being removed. Okay. Secondly, I've not had an interaction with Billy, so I don't go with Darth's word. I want to know by myself if Billy is a troll or not. And if I have that impression, then I will be more than happy to exclude him from future conversations. So there's that. So I would have said, Billy, just remain silent until Dart finishes with Millet, and then you have the stage. But since Dart left earlier, so Millet, let's just finish the conversation, and then I'll move to Billy.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I overtalked you, by the way, Angelo.
And I just want to say thanks for letting me up.
Okay. So,
where was I? Okay, so.
Did you catch that, Tom Rabbit? Hope you upload that to YouTube.
So yeah, let's just put that into perspective, because I know that Darth likes to do this kind of thing when he likes to point out, I was behaving this way, and that means Christianity is great, and this atheist did that, which means so it follows that all atheists are bad. Notice that in that particular group, Darth lost his shit, flamed out, tried to light the dumpster on fire, took off, and then rage quit, and apparently blocked him. Right, I don't think I think I missed the graphic if Tom Rabbit put it in there, but it sounds like he did. God knows for how long, who knows. But I really don't. What I know about Otangelo, I don't imagine that there's going to be a behind the scenes kind of like kumbaya thing. I don't think there's going to be an equivalent to like the praise I am flip around with Otangelo. I just don't see that happening, because Otangelo will hang out and be like, "No, you weren't behaving well in my room, and you're demanding that I do things. And when I wasn't willing to just take your word that these people are bad actors and wanted to find out, you wouldn't let me ask them, continued to make demands of me, and then wouldn't shut up. So yeah, and then you rage quit, and then you blocked me. So yeah, I guess we don't need to talk anymore." Darth is fundamentally broken. He just lacks the ability to play nice with others, which isn't, hey, some of us are like that. But I don't know how many people are like that to the extent that Darth is. I haven't, especially at the tender age of 61. Like, when's he going to learn? Well, that saying about old dogs and new tricks. So, yeah, Otangelo has his moments of clarity. Yeah, he did there. So, hello, Wist. Good to see you. I missed, did I miss a super chat? No, I did not. Thank you very much, Simus, for posting that reminder. All right, with that being said, I think I'm going to wrap this up. So those are kind of the last two most recent ones, little treasures from Tom Rabbit. Again, the theme is Darth is throwing himself around, and he's now seeking out greener pastures to pee on them and turn them yellow as quickly as possible. And it looks like he's doing a fine job. And I think he's actually breaking some land speed records for himself, because this, like I said, I've seen this before. I saw this back, and I haven't even been watching this guy for as long as others have. There's others that Simus can vouch for this. He's in the live chat. Simus is known of Darth and known Darth longer than most, and Hogtie Champ as well. And so maybe they can kind of vouch for this. But this just kind of, it seems like this pattern is the overall arc of this is shrinking. Right, he's accelerating the entire cycle. So we're able to witness it. I think it took longer for this to happen with Google Plus, and that, a very long time. And then Discord, it kind of condensed itself. I think with Discord, I think he was in those rooms maybe 2 years. Maybe it wasn't quite that long. And Clubhouse, I think he's only been doing for a little over a year, maybe. And it just seems like he's already kind of painted himself. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how he's going to get out of this. He's going to, like I said, I have a feeling, because he's not going to apologize. Everyone else is going to have to apologize to him. So unless Praise starts doing more stuff on Clubhouse, and that gives Darth the opportunity to talk to more people that happen to go into something Praise hosts in Clubhouse. That might work for a little bit until Praise abuses that. There is one I'm going to be covering a little bit later. Tom premiered it today, and it's conversation. I'll probably be doing that next time. It's a compilation, because there's a couple of different meetings, but it's Skylar Fiction. He's been back and more active lately. He's having a conversation with Darth. More like Darth is just constantly trying to pick fights with him. And in one of the versions that I was watching, it looked like One Way was trying to shut things down. He was kind of checking Darth Dawkins. So, and One Way is occasionally active on Clubhouse, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be some harbor in a storm. So, yeah, not sure, not really sure how this is going to play out for Dorothy Pooh, but we'll see. So anyway, with that, folks, I'm going to wrap it up. Everybody, have a great night. Like I said, it's been a busy week. It's going to get even busier tomorrow and Friday. I am going to try to jump online and do another show. I've got a lot of content to make up for, so I need to be cranking out more shows. Thanks, JRobin. You damn personal growth and getting better and embracing life and all that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No bitterness here. But yeah, to sum that up, JRobin, best of luck with you. Hope that works out. You better not be trolling me, bro. But other than that, thank you all for being here. Thank you, as always, for the live chat. Thank you for the super chats. Always very generous of you. I agree, Maya. The Skylar convos have been hilarious. It's been nice to have him back. He seems to be in fighting for him. Brian says, just early today, Joe was confronting Skylar, and it was bad. Yes, yeah, that's another one that I want to do, but it's going to take a little bit of mining. I do want to cover the Mark Reed, Jill debate that they had on, what's that, Cafe Debate or whatever, Debate Cafe. I will be doing that one. Probably not going to do that my usual style. Probably going to try to like pull clips out of that because Jill is less focused than most apologists, YouTube apologists, which is saying something. So some of these, and that's not unfair because some of these guys, it can be pretty articulate and can like kind of keep things kind of tightened up. Jill is just a wreck. So, but should be fun. So, and as usual, thanks to Mark Reed for taking that bullet for the community. I hope to mine that for some views at your expense, Mark Reed, but mostly at Jill's expense. As usual. And also because if anybody is not aware of Jesus as Lord, I don't think I've devoted a video to any of his goofiness for my channel, but it's a great way to introduce him to some of you if you've never seen his stuff before. Holy shit. Probably just as bad as the 7-day guy, as Terry Stanley, the, your way or Yahweh, testes by the fire, that guy. So, yeah, lots of fun and lots of cringe. So with that, do something healthier. Have a cup of tea, enjoy your family, hug your pets, all that good stuff. I will catch you all next time. See you all later and take care.